Hi, and welcome to part 1 of my scrolling game series. So we learned in the last video, or not really last video, but in the last video that I made, I taught about part 1 on how to do a scrolling platformer. And that's a scrolling platformer after we learned how to make a platformer. But what if we wanted to make a scrolling game? So the ground scrolls and we could just move around. So that's pretty easy, and we're going to jump right into that. So let's do that. So start by making your person here. I'm just going to actually start with just the cat, and I'll just shrink it down a little bit. You don't actually have to shrink it down. You can just change the size right here, 80 or something like that. Great. Now let's first learn how to make it move around. So that's pretty easy. One flag clicked, forever, and then for ifs, and then for key presses. And what these four are going to do, first one you can do as W, the next as S, the next as A, and the last one is D. What you do with that is you're just going to bring in A, change X by 5 in the D, change X by minus 5 in the A, change Y by 5 in the W, and change Y by minus 5 in the S. So what does this script do? Well, if we zoom in a little bit, or a lot of it, we'll just look up at this. We start with the one flag click. So this is just when it starts, and then we have a forever loop. And in that forever loop, we have an if key W pressed, then change Y by 5, sorry. That the W, if you look at your keys on your keyboard, W is the first key, S is the bottom key, and then D and A are the right and left keys. So W is the top key, so we're changing the Y position by 5. So whatever the Y position is, we're moving up by 5 every time. S, which is the bottom key, change Y by minus 5, same thing, just going down. A, changing X by minus 5, so the X position this way and this way is going to the left a little bit, because A is on the left side, and D is on the right side, so change X by 5. So that is a pretty simple script. That's what that does. So if we start this, arrow keys do not work because we're doing the WASD keys. See, we move around. So that's pretty cool. But we're going to make it a scrolling game. So you're going to delete the my variable and create two variables. One called scroll X and one called scroll Y. Alright. Or actually, we can leave them checked for now. So we can see this, and it will change, and we'll be able to know that it's changing by seeing the variables changing. But they're not going to change right away. In fact, we're going to start them at 0, 0, and nothing's ever changing those variables. So they're never going to be changed. But we want to change them because that's why we created them. And how we're going to change them is what we're going to do. Is we're going to change the scroll X and the scroll Y. And we're going to change them by X position and Y position. But we want to always be in the we always want to be in the center, but we want to move up and down and left and right, and things can move by us. So we can do that and then set it to 0 at the end. So it's pretty simple, and that's literally what makes it a scrolling game. From just a normal game to a scrolling game. It's just these 3 blocks, or 5 blocks if you want to count these 2. And now we've done that, and if we look at it, we're going to go in the center, and these positions have just changed because we've just moved there. So you're going to have to double-click the flag to make that work. And if you don't want to have to double-click the flag, then you can just put a go to 0, 0 block up at the beginning. I'm sorry, just ruined that all up. Put that around that, and put that on there. There. Now, no matter where we are, even if I move me up here, and then I just go right down to the center without changing the scroll X and scroll Y. If I move to the right, nothing happens. Sorry. I meant to do WSD keys. I keep doing the arrow keys. Up, change Y by 5, and we're just moving up. You can see on this variable right here. And down, we're moving back down. And right, and left. So that's cool. We've put our positions into variables, but it doesn't look like we're moving at all. We're just like not moving at all. And that's true, we're not moving at all. But we can change that and show by going to paint a new sprite. And I'm literally just going to put a box here just so you guys can see what's actually happening. So I'm just going to put a box here, right there. And I'm going to go to like a random position, like right here, let's say, and say, when flag clicked, forever, go to scroll X and scroll Y. This is not going to work. And why is it not going to work? Well, notice when I'm going to the right, right, the box goes away from me, and it's just going the opposite direction that I want it to go. So that's cool and all, and plus we're moving the box. We're really not moving the player. We are moving the player, but we just can't tell that. Looks like we're just moving the box. And so it's not working. Up arrow moves the box up. We want it to move the box down because we want the player to move up. Okay. That's really easy. Whenever you want to do something opposite, you just times it by -1. Scroll X times -1. And scroll Y by -1. And now, when I move up, the box goes, and it's like I'm moving around the thing. So it's kind of cool. I'm moving kind of around it and stuff. But when I start the flag, it goes right to the center. And I don't want all of my things to go right to the center. So to do that, you can just do that, and add a number to that. You can add whatever position you want to. So I want it to go right here at the beginning. Then I just go 114 and 87, because that's when my coordinates are right here. And when I start this, it goes right there, and I can just move around from where it is. And wherever it is, I can just start the flag, and it goes right back to that position. So that's cool. But when I get to the edge, it stops, even though I'm moving to the right. And when I go move to the left, it'll stay there until I start getting back. It still gets back into the screen. Well, that's a kind of glitch in Scratch. It won't let sprite go past the edge, too far past the edge. And it won't go far enough to not be able to see it. So we can fix this by having a if-else statement and a equals, and say if, or actually an and. Grab an and out and put those two things in. And what the first equals is going to do is it's going to check to see what the X position is. So we're going to say, if this, where I'm supposed to be going, because it says go to that place, if that's where I actually am, so if that is actually my X position, and this here is actually my Y position, then okay, phew, I'm actually in the spot that I actually am supposed to be in, and therefore I can show. But if I'm not there, I'm actually on the edge, and I'm just not supposed to be there. I'm supposed to be way past it. Then it should hide. So if we start this, we move, and the box is kind of going around, and once it gets to the edge, it disappears. It kind of, like, disappears a little bit, so it's not super clean, but it's much better than other things that you can do. Like, there is some ways you can go by, like, going to the backdrop and adding, or not a backdrop, making a new sprite with, like, a border. It will kind of hide these things, but that's why you might see a lot of scroller games that have that border around them. But this works just as well, or better, really. So, awesome! If you don't mind adding a border, I would do that, but I don't really like those borders, so I just like to have this kind of script. So that's great. That's our first scroller game, and that's really all we have right now. So in the next video, we'll go over a little bit more of our scrolling game and how to have the end of a scroller of your player so that you cannot go past a certain spot. So I'll see you then.